Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Chelsea, and welcome to
Nick and Chelsea's Gen Excellent Adventure,
where we chronicle the 50-something parents of a 5-year-old as we move from the USA to the UAE.
You can also follow our journey on our Instagram page, Nick Chelsea Gen Excellent Adventure, or type in the name of this podcast. And if you have any questions or subjects you'd like us to address, please go ahead and send us a message through that Instagram page.
So, unfortunately, I have been down and out the past few days, and I won't go into detail about that, but I did miss a couple days of work, and consequently, we are running a little bit late with this podcast episode.
Right, and you might have also noticed that there's been a little less content on Instagram as well, and now you know why.
Yeah.
We've been in recovery mode.
Yeah, well, I've been in recovery mode, and Nick has been handling tea constantly. So thank you for that.
But you're on the up and mend right now.
Yes, I went back to work today. I'm feeling so much better. And we're really thankful for the support of my coworkers and my husband and my child, who's been very sweet overall. But yes, couldn't do any Instagramming, reeling, talking to each other. None of those things really happened. We couldn't put anything out there. Too exhausted.
But hopefully we're back on full speed ahead now. And speaking of full speed ahead, we are full speed ahead on our technological journey here. Those of you who listened into our last episode might have noticed that we had a different type of experience audio-wise because we recorded from our balcony at our hotel in Jumeirah. And those of you who've listened might have noticed a few things, such as...
Well, waves. The outside level, or being able to get our outside levels even was really difficult. We really did not achieve that.
Well, I hear it came out a little better in the final recording.
Maybe.
That it was not as bad as it was when I was trying to edit it. I mean,
Okay.
when I was editing it, I was close to being like, I don't know if this is usable because we were so different. But when we converted it into an MP3, then it sounded more even.
This is what you heard from your dad.
Well, and I also listened to it some too.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay. I was going to say, because your dad is very, very supportive and we love him so much, but might possibly be a little biased.
Oh, he's just showing us love is all.
He really is.
But that's one thing we learned and we're also trying to iron out all the kinks and figuring out exactly how to work all the software with this interface.
Yeah.
And hopefully this time we've got it figured out where this is going to be good in terms of not having any stereo going on with our voices. You'll hear us evenly through the left and right sides of the speakers. Hopefully, we'll see how it turns out.
And by we, Nick means him. I haven't done any of this. In fact, tonight, while Nick was putting the agenda together for this podcast, I was trying to get the whole setup taken care of so he wouldn't have to do anything. And then he had to go and fix it all. So thank you.
Well, we seem to be up and running, so I think we're okay.
All right.
And that means we can move on to our first full subject of the week, and that would be our trip to the Kite Beach.
Yes, and by trip, it's just like after school. So on Fridays, as many of you know or might remember, we have half days, and that is just amazing. It's amazing. So we go home, we rest for a little bit, take some time, and then a friend of ours, the one who lives around the corner from us, had invited us to join them at Kite Beach, which is probably the most popular beach around here. We haven't been to a beach yet in Dubai. We did that week in Fujairah, but nothing in Dubai. And so we joined them in the later afternoon. Yeah.
And the reason for not having been to a beach yet here more than 2 months in is because it's just been too hot.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Beach, it's the opposite of the way that it is back at home.
Yeah.
Beach weather is during the winter here.
Yes.
Whereas beach weather back home is during the summer. And so we've been waiting patiently for the conditions to change enough for us to finally go out and see what the beach is all about here in Dubai. And I got to say, when we were first invited out, I was a little skeptical because we're still in kind of the low to mid 90s as the high. And the idea, we had just been in Fujairah kind of baking for 4 days.
Yeah.
And this was 2 days later. And, I didn't like scorch myself or anything, but I was still a little singed. And I was probably a little reluctant about going out to the beach again so soon.
Yeah.
Thinking that it was going to be 95 out there.
Yeah.
And, well, it turns out that the conditions of the beach were better than we had expected.
No, it was so pleasant. There was this nice breeze, and it just made it really nice to be there. And, it was strategic. She said, meet us at 3:30. We ended up all meeting around 4, and the sun was setting, for the next hour and a half. And so it really just was lovely. It was absolutely perfect out there. You could get in the water and it didn't feel hot. What we've been told is the water is really hot also in the summer. So now it's like a decent temperature. It's really nice. And so, yeah, we had our first beach experience, and we had it with friends who have kids. And that was so nice. So nice.
So we should explain a little bit about what the Kite Beach is and kind of where it's located. So this is I think a pretty long beach.
Yeah.
And it's not too far away from where we live.
I don't know that we're totally clear on where it starts and ends, or even it seems like it gets broken up here and there.
Mm-hmm. But we're not too far away, but it was still about a 20-minute drive, simply because we had to get on the opposite side of the Sheikh Zayed Road to get there. And anytime you have to get on the other side of the Sheikh Zayed Road, that adds a very large level of complication to your navigation.
Yes. Because
there just aren't many overpasses or underpasses to get past this 12-lane highway that goes right straight through Dubai. And therefore, you usually end up getting on it and having to basically get to another exit, turn yourself around, get back on, coming back the other way to get to where you were trying to get to on the other side of the road.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of crossover points that don't involve getting onto the freeway. So we'd love to see more of those, and I bet they will build them from what we know about Dubai. But in the meantime, you do have to do a lot of kind of almost freeway U-turns.
Yeah, exactly. And so that always adds
and by freeway, I mean tollway.
But it always adds a pretty large amount of time to any travel you're doing when you have to do that. Which is, we're very close to the Sheikh Zayed Road. So
we really are.
So we run into this issue on a pretty regular basis because there aren't a lot of things on the other side of the road, but there are enough.
Yeah.
Like whether it's getting to Palm Jumeirah or to the district right there. What is it? Media City?
I haven't been there.
Okay. Where did you go to your appointment?
What appointment?
Your esthetician appointment.
Okay. We were getting there. Yes, the esthetician appointment. I almost forgot about that. So I was in Dubai and Marina.
Okay. So these locations we have to get on the other side of the road for.
Yeah.
And so we got to deal with it. And that just makes it a little bit harder to navigate. So the Kite Beach, even though it's pretty close to us geographically, it's just a little bit more complicated to get there.
Yeah, and absolutely worth it. But we were thankful we went on a Friday night and not a regular weekday when we would have gone a little bit later, and that would have taken us a lot more time. But Fridays, the traffic really clears out. It's much
because a lot of the people in the city are
Muslim and going to mosques.
Yes, although there were several mosques right there next to the beach.
That's true.
Which made, I don't want to say parking complicated, but there were people coming in and out for not going to the beach. They were coming for going to mosque.
So anyway, the experience was completely lovely. We got to see our kid have an absolute blast with friends that he really, truly enjoys. And they have a 3 and 6 year old. And our kid gets along with both, but really loves the 3-year-old. Mm-hmm. It's really fun to watch because he tends to be drawn to older kids, which I think is a pretty common thing for little kids. So the fact that he is really all in on this younger kid and they just run around and have so much fun together makes me absolutely joyous.
Well, and of course, we had been at the beach over in Fujairah for several days right before that.
Right.
When he didn't have people to play with
Right.
at the beach.
Right.
And even trying to create that was complicated by the fact that it was largely a Russian-speaking population there at the resort. And so the communication barrier just was there, and we weren't really able to get those play with other kids moments there. So it was really fun in the aftermath of that, seeing him have so much fun running around the beach with other kids.
Yes, just a blast.
Now, the temperature, it was still technically like 90 degrees when we were there.
Yeah.
But it sure didn't feel that way.
The breeze made a huge difference. And I think I mentioned the sun was starting to set. So both of those things just, I didn't need to be in the water the whole time.
Well, I was in the water, and coming out, you got chilly.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was not a experience like over in Fujairah. I mean, you did not need to towel off after you got out of the
Except
ocean.
the first day.
I never needed to.
The first day with clouds even?
Yeah, it was fine. Well, so there was it was a really, really pleasant experience. We were really turned out, for me, being reluctant to go in the first place.
Yeah.
Turned out to be a lot better than what I was expecting in terms of the conditions.
And it's also nice because on a different kind of social note, I go to work every day. Nick is here every day. And it was, my friend invited us, and she and her husband were there with their 2 kids, and then another friend and her 2 kids. And then Nick got to talk to the husband about sports for like 2 hours. And that's awesome because he doesn't get that with me, and he doesn't talk to anybody else really during the day. So really having that opportunity, I think, is also nice for you.
Yeah, of course. Anytime you get to, well, unfortunately, talk a little Mariners.
Oh, that's right. You guys were talking Mariners.
Yeah.
That's when it was still hopeful.
Well, at that point, but they'd just lost games 3 and 4. So things had gone from really, really up to kind of back into that typical Mariners, woe is me, expect the worst situation.
Is that where you were?
After game 4? Well, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. I've been around the Mariners for, 40 plus years. I know the history. So, so there hasn't been a lot of hope or a lot of good things that have happened. And of course, with this series, same thing.
Yeah.
They kind of give you some hope, but then wrestle it away from you.
I think you actually blamed you and T for jinxing one of the games the other day.
Well, game 7, we woke up early in the morning before school, and it just happened to be the game was still going, and so went ahead and put it on, and while we were eating breakfast, we basically turned it on just in time for George Springer's 3-run homer, which gave Toronto the lead. So that's the entirety of the ALCS that I watched in person, and basically we watched the Mariners lose.
So basically, they're to blame.
Yes.
You and T.
Me and T. Yeah, it's our fault.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's an aside. Going back to the beach, one thing we saw there that I had never seen before was there was this guy who was basically being Iron Man.
Oh my gosh, I had never seen this either.
So, and maybe you've seen this before or seen clips of it before, but there was this man who was standing on basically what was like a snowboard, except it had a hose hooked up to it, and then 2 water jets underneath that were shooting the water out down so that he was elevating up in the air.
It was so weird.
And then it was also like attached to this jet ski, who I think the jet ski was just providing the power, the electricity to make this thing work, because the driver was just sitting there the whole time while this guy was trying this thing. It was clearly someone who was new at it, because he was really struggling or working hard to keep his balance.
Yeah.
And wasn't doing any tricks or anything like that. He was just trying to stay upright. But seriously, it was like watching someone trying to be Iron Man out there.
Yeah. Or like, what's the guy in Spider-Man?
Oh, Dr. Octopus?
No, is it Doc Ock?
Yeah.
Yeah, where I feel like there's like a machine. I kind of kept getting those vibes
Oh, I
too
see
because
what
we've
you're
been
saying.
reading a lot of those books with
Yeah.
T lately.
Okay.
So I was like, T, that kind of reminds me of what's the bad guy in Spider-Man? And he was like, Doc Ock. And I was like, yeah, do you see it? And he was like, yeah. And then I was proud.
Well, I really enjoyed watching that guy. I mean, it was like watching a comic book or a movie or something like that, MCU. So that was fun. Another aspect of the beach, and also in addition to the beach, we also got to take a little bit of a look at the neighborhood there, what it was like along the beach. And what I would say is that everything about it was very Southern California feel to me.
Very. And it was not, what was along the beach was different because there was the beach, there were homes or maybe villas and whatnot. And then like parking areas and then like a couple establishments on the beach, not that many. But then on the other side of the homes were all these businesses.
Yeah. But along the beach, it also had a path that you saw some people jogging on,
true,
or people
yeah.
were bicycling along the main road there. And that felt very much like along the beach, whether
Yes.
it's Manhattan Beach, Venice
Yeah.
Beach, those type of areas.
Like a boulevard kind of thing. Or a boardwalk.
Had that. But then you talk about the road beyond the residences.
Yeah.
That had more of a like Rodeo Drive sort of feel to it.
Yeah.
Or something
Or
like that.
Santa Monica, maybe. It was very fancy and beautiful, and lots of white buildings, off-white buildings, and it was very different than other parts of Dubai that we go to or see regularly, in that there weren't a million malls. It wasn't like a big mall with lots of things. It was basically lots of individual storefronts for stores or restaurants, and so many of them. And sometimes they were upstairs entrances, sometimes they were downstairs. Anyway, it was really beautiful. Obviously very expensive. Like, I'm scared to eat there. But I'm also very intrigued and want to eat there. So, but yeah, it just definitely gave you like wealthy Southern California vibes.
Well, we will definitely be going back to explore the Kite Beach more. We were in a very small section of the beach, actually off the main section.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that we did not see.
Yeah.
And we'll want to take advantage of the beach and the conditions.
Yeah.
Probably several times between now and Christmas.
So we talked to a couple not that long ago when we were at somebody's party, and they said they go to the beach every day in this season with their kids after school. And I was like, wow, you must live closer to the beach than we do. But that would be amazing if we lived that close. But I can completely see the appeal now that we've done it. Yeah. Oh, and I do want to say one other thing about Kite Beach, because it's called Kite Beach. And while I can't verify the reason, there were tons of people kite surfing while we were there. And so you saw these like parasails in the air. For a while I was like, are they all parasailing? But then no, they were kite surfing. Anyway, it looked really cool. And there was also like sailing classes, it looked like, going on, like not regatta, but sailing classes at the same time. So we saw a lot of the activity that I kind of knew Dubai had, but we hadn't seen yet. And that was really neat.
Well, and that was a little reminiscent of home too.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think of the kite surfers, there's a place called Jetty Island up in Everett, which is my old working stomping grounds. And that was a really big location for kite surfing.
I have always wanted to go to Jetty Island.
And then the sailboats, those are like the type you see off of Golden Gardens in Seattle, where like on a Sunday they'll either have races out there or the one-person sailboats, basically.
Yeah.
And so that it was fun seeing all of that and getting a little glimpse of home, I guess.
Yeah, and seeing the people biking and like scootering and all of that along the boardwalk too. That was also really like, oh, look at these people! Like, we're doing life out here. This is awesome. I love it. Yeah, I mean, of course, it felt like vacation vibes. Yeah. So that was nice.
Well, it should. I mean, that was the week where the grand total of T's school was the half day on Friday.
That's true.
Because we had the 3 days vacation, then parent-teacher conference day where elementary school students didn't go to school on Thursday.
Yep.
And then Friday is just a half day. So it was a very short school week.
And not surprisingly, most students were not there on Friday. But I worked on Friday and Thursday, so T was there. Okay. So the Kite Beach is in a neighborhood called Jumeirah, which I think we mentioned earlier. But if we didn't, we did talk about Jumeirah and all the many Jumeirahs in Dubai and how confusing that is in our last episode.
Yeah, I remember. If you remember, we talked a little bit about our visit to a place called JVC, or Jumeirah Village Circle.
Yes.
And this is just one of many places named Jumeirah. They aren't necessarily next to one another. It's very confusing for newcomers. And so it was time to go figure out why is so much in Dubai called Jumeirah.
Yes.
So I did a little research, and I came across an article in the Gulf News, which is one of the main English newspapers here in Dubai. And it was from 2018, and it basically tackled that very subject of why is everything Jumeirah in Dubai.
I know. I'm surprised there hasn't been anything written since then.
Well, yeah. But this one, I think that I'm hoping that this article was accurate, which I think it is.
It makes sense.
And basically, so historically, Jumeirah refers to the residential area along the water, kind of north of us, west of downtown. It's long and thin. So that strip along the water on the west side of Sheikh Zayed Road.
Right.
And
thus the beach.
And that's sort of been where the desirable living is. That's where people wanted to live historically in Dubai. It's kind of the nicer neighborhood. And it's very long. Like I said, there's 3 sections. There's Jumeirah 1, Jumeirah 2, and Jumeirah 3. And they're kind of side by side rather than kind of clustered. So it's a very long and thin area. And that kind of explains why there's so many road signs that point to Jumeirah. Because, it's like many, many miles long. It might only be like a half mile wide through that entire Jumeirah area. But because it's so long, there's lots of places along the highways that can exit to something called Jumeirah.
That makes sense.
Going back to Kite Beach technically, I think, is part of Jumeirah 3. I think it's only the beach, though. I think once you get into the residential area, it's part of Sakim.
Yeah, I think.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I think that's how you say
it. Which is another way that Jumeirah gets extended farther in the north-south direction. But because that was the desirable living part of town, the term Jumeirah sort of became synonymous with luxury and exclusivity. So developers kind of picked up on this, and they started just adding the Jumeirah name to anything that they were building. So that's why you have the Palm Jumeirah. That's why you have Jumeirah Village Circle, Jumeirah Lake Towers, all the things like that. And even though they aren't necessarily near one another or near Jumeirah, what they want is that concept of high society living associated with their product.
It's so interesting because I've been to JVC and I've been to JLT, and I have been to Palm Jumeirah. Now, of all those, the only one that I associate with exclusivity and luxury is Palm Jumeirah. And that is on the water. The other 2 are not. So I didn't have that connotation for Jumeirah, but I wasn't living here when all these things were being developed either.
So anyway, to answer the question of why is everything Jumeirah in Dubai, basically it's a big branding thing.
Yep.
And
which a lot of things are.
Yeah. And it creates confusion for newcomers like us.
Yep. But at least we understand now.
Yeah. And
we have now been to the actual Jumeirah. And so we have a little more knowledge now. Okay. So on to our next topic, which won't be too long, but I mentioned that I've been down and out for a few days, really all weekend, and then through yesterday, through Tuesday. And so what that had me doing, in addition to my healing work that I was doing, I was watching a lot, like binge watching a Hallmark show. Nick is laughing at me. He does not love this show. He rolls his eyes a lot. Called Chesapeake Shores. I started watching it not that long ago, to be honest.
Is it a Hallmark?
It's Hallmark.
Oh, I didn't know it was a Hallmark
Very
show.
specifically
I mean,
Hallmark.
I'm not surprised by that. But,
no, of course not.
But I did not realize that it was Hallmark. Well, that explains a lot.
Yes, it should. And it's on Netflix. So it's 6 seasons. And I binge watched so much of it over this time period. In fact, we're now on the last season, and I cannot quite believe it. But they're short seasons. Anyway, Chesapeake Shores takes place in the fictional town of Chesapeake Shores, Maryland. But it actually, all the filming is I think it's in Vancouver Island in BC, Canada. And if it's not Vancouver Island, it's one of the islands. Anyway, we are from Seattle. We have been to Vancouver Island a few times. We've been to Canada several times. We have been to our own coast and islands several times. And this has a lot of scenery shots, a lot. And I got really homesick. I mean, no joke. Like, I was literally weeping. I mean, not sobbing, but getting weepy at scenes that just would show somebody sitting near the water. I was like, or they'd be sitting in a sweater outside. And I was like, oh, cool. I breeze in the water and mountains. I see mountains, which is like clearly not Maryland. But so beautiful and very clearly West Coast. So it was interesting. And so I guess I've hit that point in our experience here where I have actually gotten homesick, and I hadn't until I was sitting at home forced to do nothing for 4 days.
Well, I think you were the last
Yeah.
to get there.
Yeah.
There's no question that T has been dealing with
Yes.
some homesickness issues.
Absolutely.
He has asked us when we're going back to Seattle.
Yeah. Poor kiddo.
And of course, he misses his people.
Yeah.
He really does.
A lot. He'll mention specific people, and he mentions just Seattle. But then we've also seen some really positive changes in the last few weeks. So we think he's settling, but he is still missing people. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
When do you think you felt your homesickness most?
Well, I think it's largely for me, feeling still a little bit
unmoored,
like not. I don't know that I have my purpose here yet.
Yeah.
And because of that, you think about the fact that back in Seattle, I still had a purpose, or I had my profession, and I had where I felt like I was in a full capacity mode, and I don't feel like I've reached that yet, which is understandable. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do from a job standpoint. So I think that's probably fed a fair amount into it.
Yeah.
I also think that the not being outside as much part of being here so far has contributed to that.
Yeah.
Because of the heat. I mean, you haven't wanted to go for a walk during the day, for example, outside. Not that I was doing a ton of walks back home, but I would.
Yeah. You absolutely had routines around that.
And not being able to pop outside for a quick 15-minute walk has been, an adjustment.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we're getting to the point where I can start doing that again.
In the mornings. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting because I have been working, so I haven't dealt with that. But what you just described is kind of an ongoing feeling, and just kind of a I'm still searching, etc. feeling, and I miss these things and so forth. What I felt this weekend was more of like a kind of deep, like, oh gosh, I'm having a little bit of pain around this. Like, in a way I hadn't felt. I've had missing things, I've had wistfulness, but I hadn't had that like, oh wow, I really miss things right now. And so that was like a moment where I felt it. Like I felt it emotionally. I felt like, oh, I want to sit with my people, And so, and even just talking about it right now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel a little weepy again. So it really was like watching endless Chesapeake Shores that brought it out. So I think in some ways that's good. Like I needed to get that out a little bit. It was time. And I'm also grateful that it came out when we are on the verge of being able to go outside more frequently.
Yeah. Well, I would be surprised if people didn't feel some homesickness after such a large move.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we've addressed this before in a podcast episode, but one thing that as far as T goes, really have come to realize is just how much we really asked of him.
Yeah.
With this move. I mean, the timing of it was aligned with him starting kindergarten.
Yes.
And we did that deliberately, knowing that he was going through a big transition anyway by going from preschool to kindergarten. If he was ever going to have a bigger transition, we might as well add it on. Well, we added a lot on. It was a lot for him. And
it was.
And
he's a champ.
Yeah, he's dealing with it. He's doing all right. But it really, seeing him dealing with it has had me with, the occasional moment of, wow, we really asked a lot of you.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sorry that we put all of this on you at once.
Yeah. And he's getting more resilient by the day because of it. And so we just have to remember, like, the ultimate purpose is still a true purpose. He's still going to grow in all these different ways. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you feel so much guilt as a parent. It's hard not to. Okay, so moving on from that poignant, sad topic to our
Excellents and Boguses of the week.
Okay, so Nick, what was your excellent this week?
All right. Well, we talked a little bit about how we had that week of just a half day of school for T. And the Thursday was parent-teacher conferences, which meant that you were working.
Yep.
But T did not have school. So it was him and me for the full day. And one way we helped fill that time is that he and I did the pond park together.
Yay!
That's usually
Barsha Pond Park.
That is usually your and his Saturday morning routine.
That's right. Little did we know it would not be our Saturday morning routine. So it's a good thing you got that in there.
But it was an opportunity for me to get out there with him. And he was actually quite eager to kind of show me things.
Yeah.
And
that's so cute.
Kind of show your routine. And what was also really great is because it was, I don't think that his school was the only one that was kind of doing
Oh, no. Like everyone had a midterm break. Almost
there were
everyone.
Other kids there. And it was, it had cooled down enough where people were actually using the playground.
I mean, this is new.
So he got to actually spend some time playing on the playground there. Now, the way that the playground is set up at the pond park is that they have covering over the top. So you're in shade.
Yeah.
But, even when it's shaded, when it's super hot out there, you don't really want to be playing around or climbing on things or doing swings and such. And
they need those misters like they have in Vegas.
But so it was cool enough where he did a lot of swinging while we were there. And, I talked with another parent from a different school for a little while, and there was another kid there, the parent's daughter, who actually knew someone from T's class.
Oh, that's
had gone to school with that student last year at a different school. So that was fun. And then, getting a chance. We talked about how I hadn't been able to get out to a lot of walks. Well, that was a nice little walk. We didn't make it all the way around the pond like you guys usually do.
Because you did the playground.
And then we got to the point where you guys usually, sit down to have a snack.
It's not the same point every time, but it is almost the same point every time. Yeah.
And
I bring the applesauce pouches.
Right.
Yeah.
I did not realize I should have brought those. So we got to that point and I did not have a snack for him. And so it was time to turn around and go back to the car to go get the snacks. And by the time we got there, it was hot enough where it's like we're just moving on.
Yeah, tricky. I did forget an applesauce pouch once, and he was like, "Why did you forget?" I was like, I just did. I'm so sorry. And then he got over it. We kept walking. So that's funny. Okay. So you didn't do his exercises for you because he walked back to the car.
Well, we actually went left first from the entrance, so he did actually do a little bit on where they have some exercise equipment that people can use.
You did a
so
little
we
bit
did a little bit
backwards.
at the very, very beginning.
Okay.
And then we started going to the right.
Okay. And people can see this in my many reels of all Barsha Pond Park, which all look the same basically, but they always end with T at the exercise equipment because he just loves to do things on those. It's really cute.
All right. So that was my excellent from the week. Chels, what is your excellent?
My excellent is cool breezes. And I'm not joking. I mean, it started really a little over a week ago when we were, I guess it's almost 2 weeks ago now, when it was right before we left for our trip, or it was right before our last day of school, before midterm break. And I think it was the day of Friday, the last day, T and I were crossing the street to school, and there's a median in the middle that you cross. It's like a big, huge gravel median. And I stopped with him and I said, "Oh my gosh, T, do you feel that? It is a cool breeze. There is a cool breeze in the air." And he was like, "Yes, I guess." He only sort of acknowledged it. But it was truly, I mean, it wasn't like Seattle cool, but it was truly cool in comparison to the actual air when you're just walking, the stagnant air. So I got inside and I said something about it to one of our assistant principals, and she was like, "Yes, it is a sign that we need a break." I was like, okay. Anyway, so I am just loving that because when I walk across the street this morning, it was there again. I felt it at the beach. Yeah, those are like filling me up right now. Cool breezes.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the time of year now where we are now double digits for the high temperatures instead of triple digits.
Yeah.
And we're looking ahead and we are seeing low mid 70s as the lows here in the near future.
Yeah, on Nick's app. On my app, we use different apps for our weather. I'm seeing high 70s as the low, but I'll take it. Any 70s is great with me. Or mid to high 70s. But it's exciting. Yeah, and so just to be clear, these are things that are happening in the early mornings. And, an hour later, it does not feel that way. But that will change too. That will change and give us 3 more weeks. That'll change too. All right. So, Nick, what is your bogus for the week?
Well, and this is kind of a good-natured bogus. So don't take this one too hard. But the last week, T and I went out and got his Halloween costume. And this experience turned out to be quite a bit more complicated and convoluted than I anticipated because we already had a costume decided on. He wanted to be Spider-Man. Pretty typical for a 5-year-old.
Yes.
And you were told about a store.
Yes, by my friend around the corner. Yep.
That was good for getting Halloween costumes. So we drive out there and
it's called, should we say the name of it?
I can't even remember what the name
It's called
of it is.
Creative Minds.
Okay.
And I think it's worth calling out because they had a substantial selection.
Well, here's the thing. It's a craft store, basically.
Okay, cool.
It's not like a Halloween costume store, but for Halloween, they go all out.
That's awesome.
And so we drive out there, and the first thing is you have to pay for parking everywhere here.
Yes.
Like even though they had kind of parking, not a parking lot, but street parking right there, it's paid parking. You got to pay with the app.
Yep.
I can't seem to get the app to work no matter what.
This is an ongoing problem for Nick.
And, I'm trying furiously to get this to work, and I just can't do it. And eventually you just got to say, well, I guess we take a chance and see if we get fined.
Yeah.
And who knows if we're getting fined? We don't know. But I was like of the opinion, well, we're only going to be here 10, 15 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be okay. Well, we go into the store, and then I'm like going through all this Halloween stuff, and there's no costumes there. And so I find an employee and ask about where the costumes are, and he goes, "Oh, you got to go downstairs." Or was it upstairs? I can't remember. Well, anyway, it's on a different floor. So we go to the other floor, and oh my goodness, do they have so many costumes? I mean, I'm guessing 50 aisles of costumes.
What?
Yeah. I mean, it was.
Oh my gosh.
It was.
I don't think I caught that it was quite that many.
Endless. And because there were so many, T decided to change his mind many, many times on what he wanted his costume to be. And basically every time we went to another aisle, it was, oh no, I want to do this. And so we ended up being there probably like 90 minutes before he finally turned around and went back to Spider-Man again. And so we got one of the nice things, they have a lot of people working there, and they actually let him try them on to make sure that they fit.
That's really nice.
And so we end up getting this reversible Spider-Man outfit it's got some padding on it so that he's got the puffed out chest, and you can either be the classic blue and red Spider-Man or turn it inside out and you'll be the black Spider-Man.
Well, I think this is really fun because the last couple Halloweens, all of the Halloweens prior, we have decided his costume for him, and we have ordered it mostly. We haven't done that much in person. So him getting to be a part of the process is like awesome.
Yeah.
It's empowering.
Yeah, it was. However, it was a little bit stressful that day with the parking and the
I was getting texts throughout the day about about how this was going.
The changing of minds on what the costume was going to be. And so, again, it's a good-natured bogus.
Yeah.
It really isn't that big a deal.
No.
But in the moment, it was a little bit like, oh, this is one of those parenting moments where you're just like, yeah, this is something to work through.
I'm adapting, just like I'm teaching my child.
So yeah, there's my bogus for the week. How about you?
It's what I've already talked about. Being ill for 4.5 days is sucky. Mm-hmm. So I didn't like being out and not being able to do things and not being able to participate, but that's all. I've moved on, and overall had some good progress. So, feeling strong.
And that was the first time any of us had really gotten significantly hit by any kind of illness.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's good that it took a while before any of us had to deal with
I felt
that.
really healthy. This was a food poisoning thing. So we don't, it's different than like other people's things. I don't like to talk about illness a ton, as you know, but it was just a bummer. But your bogus is better. And our excellents are great.
Okay. Well, I think that brings us to the conclusion of this episode. We can tease a little something coming up because we mentioned this before. You were talking about improv classes.
Yep. I wasn't sure if you wanted to bring it up, actually. So I'm really glad you said something.
Well, signed up, and the first one is tomorrow.
Woo woo!
So I guess in the next episode, we'll let you know what improv class in Dubai was like.
And the industrial neighborhood of Al Quoz.
Mm-hmm. So look forward to that. In the meantime, thank you for listening. We really appreciate you all. And remember, be excellent to each other.
Have a great week, everyone.